Good morning, class. Welcome to Academic Writing 101, Unit 1. Now, let me begin with something I want you to remember. If academic writing feels challenging, you are not alone. In fact, nearly every student who sits right next to you might feel the same way. Academic writing isn't just another kind of writing. It's fundamentally different from the stories, messages, or essays you may have written before. It comes with its own purpose, its own conventions, and its own logic. And yes, that difference can feel overwhelming at first. But here's the wonderful part. Academic writing is not a talent you're either born with or without. It is a skill. And like any skill, it can be learned, practiced, and mastered. And that's exactly what we will do together in this class. Here's our roadmap. First, we will uncover the conventions, purposes, and structures that give academic writing its precision and power. Next, we'll explore the PMRC structure and the Create a Research Space, CARS model, two frameworks that will transform the way you approach any academic text. Finally, we will sharpen the tools that make writing not just clear, but compelling. Sentence functions, stylistic techniques, linking phrases, and an ever-growing academic vocabulary. By the end of this class, you won't just understand how academic writing works. You will feel confident using it. You will write not with hesitation, but with clarity and purpose. All right, let's talk about something very important in academic writing, moves. Now, what do I mean by moves? Think of them as the steps or building blocks that writers follow to present their research clearly and logically. Academic writing doesn't just throw information together, it follows a sequence so that the reader can easily follow the story of the research. One of the most common models we use is PMRC, purpose. Why was this research done? What's the goal? Method. How did the researchers do it? Results? What did they find? Conclusion? What does it all mean? Sometimes we even add a background step at the beginning. This gives us BPMRC to help set the stage for the study. Here's why this matters. Once you can recognize these moves, writing an abstract or even reading one becomes so much easier because you know exactly what to expect and how to organize your own work. So we now know that presenting information elements, purpose, method, results, and conclusion in an orderly fashion is extremely important. But there's another key ingredient, functional phrases. On the flip side of the coin, these phrases help your reader follow the logic of your research smoothly. For purpose, phrases like, "we introduce a method," or "this study aims to," clearly state the research goal. For method, phrases such as "the method involves," or "in our approach," outline how the study was conducted. For results, you might see "we present," or "evaluation shows that," which highlight the findings. And for conclusion, phrases like "evaluation on a set of suggests that" indicate implications or significance. These phrases act as signposts, guiding your reader through a clear and logical presentation of your research. Now that we've seen how functional phrases help structure academic writing, let's expand our focus. Beyond academic moves, there are also general functional phrases that make your writing clearer and more connected. These general phrases create logical connections both between sentences and within them. For example, to illustrate a point, you might say, "for example," or "such as." To add information, you could use "additionally," or simply "also." And to show contrast, you might begin with "however," or connect ideas with "while." In total, there are 12 types of these functional phrases, including adding information, comparing and contrasting, giving examples, showing cause and effect, expressing opinions, and more. To support your academic writing development, it's helpful to be aware of additional reference materials. One such resource is Improve Your Writing Skills, included in the Macmillan English Dictionary for Advanced Learners. This reference outlines 12 functional writing purposes, as I mentioned earlier. While this resource is useful, it is provided here for reference only and is not the main focus of this unit. For those who want to explore further, the UNC Writing Center also offers handouts on transitions, and the shared link provides a helpful summary of key phrases. In academic writing, clarity is essential, but style matters just as much. One effective way to add style is by using sentence patterns that improve flow and emphasis. For example, you can create contrast with a compound structure, subject-verb, however, subject-verb. To build rhythm, try a series, analyzing, synthesizing, and presenting, for instance. If you want to emphasize a point, use repetition. This signals importance and keeps your reader's attention. For stronger cohesion, consider inversion. Start with a prepositional phrase, as in across this study we observe. And to add variety, nothing beats simple, direct sentences. Consider the evidence. These patterns are tools. When used well, they not only make your academic writing clearer, but also more engaging. For additional examples and explanations, you can visit the link at the bottom of the slide. Vocabulary also plays a critical role in the context of academic writing. It's not just about choosing words, it's about using the right ones to define, classify, compare, and evaluate ideas effectively. Resources like the Academic Word List, or AWL, and the Academic Keyword List, or AKL, provide terms that frequently appear in academic texts. For example, words such as analyze, establish, significant, and approach are far more precise than informal alternatives like look at, set up, big, or weigh. By incorporating these words, you strengthen the precision and clarity of your writing, allowing you to communicate more effectively within the academic community. So let me share an example that really brings this concept to life. There's a paper by Eugene Augustine, Steve Lawrence, and Luis Gravano titled Learning to Find Answers to Questions on the Web. When I first read it, what stood out to me was how they approached a very simple but powerful idea, turning user questions into search queries that actually improve the chances of finding the right answer. And this ties directly back to what we've been talking about, using structured, well-thought-out language to get more precise results. Drawing on the paper Learning to Find Answers to Questions on the Web as an example, now I want to take this opportunity to step back and think about how titles like that are crafted. A title is more than just a label. It's the first impression your readers get. And if it's clear, informative, and precise, it immediately sets the right expectations. That's why the title of the paper we just discussed works so well. It tells us what the paper is about in a straightforward way. But we can go further. In fact, I like to think of title crafting as a process with a few simple strategies. Specificity. Instead of staying general, we add more detail. Learning to retrieve answers to natural language questions on the web. Now it's crystal clear what kind of questions we're talking about. Two-part titles. Another approach is to split the title. Query transformation for question answering. A machine learning approach. This way, the reader gets both the topic and the method up front. Combining method and topic. Sometimes you can weave both directly into one smooth title, like Improving Question Answering Through Query Reformulation. We've explored how to craft an effective title, and now let's follow this through by looking at the abstract of the same paper. I want you to walk with me through the numbered points here because they perfectly illustrate how a strong abstract is built step by step. Start with number 1. We introduce a method for learning to find documents on the web that contain answers to a given natural language question. This is the hook. It immediately tells the reader what the paper is about, without wasting a single word. Now, look at number 2. The approach is addressed here. Questions are transformed into search engine queries designed to maximize the chance of finding answers. Move to number 3 here. We get the methodology in more detail. The paper lays out the steps, learning features, generating candidate transformations, and evaluating those transformations on real search engines. Then, number 4, Navreford takes it to runtime execution. The system doesn't just remain theoretical, it actually transforms questions into queries, retrieves results, and re-ranks them. At number 5, the authors introduce their prototype, Tritus. I love this part because it grounds the research in something tangible you can almost see in action. Check number 6. Here comes the evidence. Their evaluation shows the method significantly outperforms both the underlying search engines and even a commercial QA system. That's the kind of concrete result that convinces readers the work matters. Finally, number 7 wraps it up. By combining documents from different search engines, their methodology pushes performance even further. A strong finish that reinforces the value of their approach. And notice the small note at the bottom. This abstract was reduced from 180 words to 127. That's not just editing. It's refining the message until every word works hard for the reader. Let's now take a closer look at how PMRC shows up in this well-written abstract. This structure isn't just a helpful guideline. It's really the backbone of how academic research is communicated clearly and logically. To start with the purpose, the abstract opens by stating, "We introduce a method for learning to find documents on the web that contain answers to a given natural language question." Right from the beginning, the reader knows exactly what the study sets out to do. Moving into the method section, it explains how questions are transformed into search engine queries. This involves several processes: classifying questions, generating and testing transformations, and applying them during search. Then we see the results. The authors introduce Tritus and provide solid evidence from real-world testing. The data shows that their method clearly outperforms not only the base search engines, but even a commercial QA system. And finally, the conclusion shows broader impact. Combining documents retrieved from multiple search engines, the approach delivers even greater improvements. In short, follow PMRC and aim for a length of 150 to 250 words to write a good abstract. Use clear verbs and avoid unnecessary detail. Make every word count. A strong abstract uses both functional phrases and specific content to clearly convey your research. Let's look at this example to see how they work together. To introduce the purpose, the authors begin with, "We introduce a method," a functional phrase that leads into the main research goal. When explaining the method, they use phrases like, "In our approach," and "The method involves," to organize complex ideas clearly. These are followed by specifics, learning features, generating queries, and evaluating performance. Then comes the results. Evaluation shows that is a classic phrase to introduce evidence, followed by the key claim: their method outperforms existing systems. Finally, the phrase resulting in additional improvement helps express broader impact. By combining these general phrases with precise details, your abstract becomes both structured and informative, helping readers follow your research at a glance. Let's take a look at how academic keywords make your writing sound more formal and precise. In this abstract, 45 out of 77 content words are academic. That's almost 60%, which shows strong academic style. You'll notice words like method, learning, evaluate, transformed, and resulting across all sections. These words aren't just fancy. They help describe steps, results, and reasoning clearly. For example, in the results section, the phrase "the method significantly outperforms" tells us exactly what worked and how well. Using more of these academic words and phrases is a great way to level up your writing. In academic writing, it's not just about what you say. It's also about how you say it. Style helps your ideas flow clearly and keeps your reader engaged. One easy way to improve style is by using sentence patterns. For instance, when we say learning, generating, and evaluating, the repetition and flow make the sentence feel complete and polished. Another technique is to vary your sentence structure. Starting with a phrase like, "At runtime, questions are transformed," immediately sets the context and grabs attention. And sometimes keeping it short and direct, like "we present a prototype," can make your message even stronger. When we talk about cohesion in academic writing, we're really talking about how smoothly your ideas connect from one sentence to the next. One simple but powerful tool to help with that is lexical chains. Lexical chains are groups of related words that keep your writing focused while avoiding awkward repetition. In this abstract, you'll see a chain built around information retrieval, documents, questions, queries, answers, and so on. Even though the words aren't identical, they all stay within the same topic area. There's also a chain for the method, such as approach, prototype, treatise, system, and methodology. Each word adds to the idea without sounding repetitive. And verbs can form chains too: transform, generate, evaluate, combine, all tied to what the method actually does. By building these chains, your writing stays connected and focused. It reads like one clear message, not just a bunch of separate sentences. Let's try something hands-on. Give ChatGPT this prompt to help us analyze our sample research abstract. We'll look for two things. First, we'll find general functional phrases. These are common academic expressions like "we introduce a method" or "in our approach." They help organize the abstract and show its purpose, method, and results. Next, we'll look for specific details, things like the input, such as natural language questions, and the output, like retrieved documents. We'll also note the setting, which in this case is web search engines, and the method used, which includes transforming queries and re-ranking results. By doing this kind of analysis, we can better understand how good abstracts work and learn how to write our own more effectively. Once you've written your abstract, it's time to take a step back and check how well it works. One great way to do that is by using ChatGPT to analyze your draft. Just like you did with the model paper, you'll use the same prompt. Ask ChatGPT to find general functional phrases like where you state the purpose, describe the method, or present results. Then check if all the key content elements are there. For example, what the system takes as input, what it produces, where it runs, and how it's evaluated. This helps you look at your writing from two angles: structure and content. Is every section clear? Are any parts missing? Does the abstract sound complete and academic? By comparing your draft with the structure of a strong model, you can revise with confidence and make sure your writing meets the expectations of academic readers. Let's wrap up what we've covered in today's lesson. We focused on how to write effective abstracts by breaking them down into clear parts using the PMRC structure: purpose, method, results, and conclusion. Instead of guessing what to write, you now have a roadmap that helps you present your ideas logically and clearly. Along the way, we looked at functional phrases, short, useful expressions like "this study aims to," or "the results suggest that," which help guide the reader through your argument. We also talked about general connectors like "for example" or "however" that improve the flow between ideas. Then we shifted our focus to style. Good writing isn't just about being correct. It's also about sounding polished. We saw how sentence patterns like repetition, parallel structure, or inversion can add rhythm and emphasis. Using a phrase like learning, evaluating, and presenting not only sounds smooth, but also helps highlight your key actions. On top of that, we explored how academic vocabulary and lexical chains can make your writing more cohesive and professional. By choosing precise terms and linking them across sentences, you make your writing clearer and more focused. So overall, effective academic writing isn't just about getting your point across. It's about doing it with clarity, structure, and style. Every word, every sentence, every choice you make matters.